Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. It's a snowy, cold, icy January 31st here in the DFW area. We hope wherever you are, you're staying warm. I'm still waiting for our speaker to connect. I hope I have not heard from him yet, so we'll just see if he gets connected here in the next few minutes. It is January 31st, 2023. Please note this event is being recorded. It's currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to watch in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, the best thing to do as soon as you think about it, put that question into the chat window. For those watching on Facebook, please just enter your questions into the comment field. We are monitoring both feeds. We'll be sure to get those questions answered for you as our speaker takes a break. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched a second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I always have copies with me. I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group since 2007. I'll tell you about our upcoming program we're going to have this Friday at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIT crew. Remember, your resume and your LinkedIn profile is not going to get you a job. What it will get you is a phone call. How well you practice your interviewing skills, that's what's going to get you your next job. Well, we've got 4 outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They rotate through on a monthly basis. This week, our speaker is VandeMotter. I am still waiting for him to connect. He's a retained search executive. He runs a company called Linked Executive Search. He's going to show us LinkedIn from the back end if he's with us today. So we've just got to wait a few minutes here and see if he comes in. I would recommend, part of being on LinkedIn is to network and connect with other people. Put in your contact information in the chat window. Tell us your name, what you're looking for, put in your LinkedIn address so people can connect with other people who are on the call today, because that's a great way to expand your connections, and you never know how you'll be able to help somebody else going on. William, thank you for getting that in there. All right, let me do a quickie little text here to Kurt and see if he's around. Let's see here. I apologize for.
Hello, Jeff.
Hold on. Oh, here he is. Hold on. Okay, there he is.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hold on.
Why am I muted? You know, Jeff, I have got a computer issue. Shoot, can you hear me?
Yes,
No?
we can hear you. Can you hear us? Hello, hello, hello.
Hold on, I'm going to go do this on my phone. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Sorry about this. Kurt will be with us in just a second here. To code for the electrons.
Oh.
Kurt, we can hear you.
Hang on, Jeff. You can't see me anyway. Oh, you can hear me. So nod your head, Jeff, if you can hear me. Okay, good. I don't know what's working and what's not. I dropped my computer last week and I've got a cracked screen. And so that's why you can't see me, because I've got a monitor going, guys. But I'm glad you can hear me. And I can't hear any of you, but that's okay. Jeff, you'll have to help me with the answers to questions because I can't hear anybody here, correct? Okay. So I'm just going to kind of go at it because Jeff, I'm sorry, I'm late here. A lot going on these days.
Excuse me one second.
A little bit about me. My name's Kurt VandeMotter, and I'm an executive search consultant. Thanks for joining us, everybody, today. If you're in Dallas, you probably didn't have anything better to do because we're snowed in. But if you're outside of Dallas, you wouldn't want to be in Dallas. One of my clients that lives in Tennessee told me today, he says, you guys have worse weather in Dallas than we have in Tennessee. And I think he's right. So I'm an executive recruiter, and this meeting is not about me. It's about you and everybody on this call. So first and foremost, if anybody has any questions, certainly queue those up. I'll keep an eye on the chat. I think I can open that one up. And if not, Jeff can help answer the questions as well. He and I have worked together for a long time. So so first and foremost, let's just talk a little bit about Kurt and where I came from. Not that this is a commercial, but maybe it helps demonstrate why I'm a recruiter. So for the first 30 years of my career, I worked in corporate America, working for Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, 7-Up, AT&T, and then I did technology startup stuff. I ended my corporate career when I was 46 years old, so that was about 15 years ago, 16 years ago, when I was working for Intervoice, and interactive technology company. And my boss called me on the 4th of July and said that she had eliminated my job. So I made one phone call while I was on vacation. That was to a recruiter. And he told me that I'd make a great recruiter. He and I had worked together in the beverage industry, and he said, you'd make a great recruiter. Well, long story short, I didn't join him, but I came back to Dallas and started Linked Executive Search. So I come at the recruiting business not as a recruiter, not as an HR executive, but as a hiring manager, somebody that has hired, fired. I've been a part of succession planning. And so that's just a little bit of background about Kurt. Then let's talk about the recruiting industry. And in the recruiting industry, there's three different kinds of recruiters. And why is it important that you know this? Because every time you get a call from a recruiter, you should be able to ask the question, so tell me, what kind of recruiter are you, or where are you calling from, or if they don't announce that before they start. So there's three kinds of recruiters. There's one recruiter is internal recruiters, and these are recruiters that actually work for the company. Years ago, I did some work on the for T-Mobile, and they had probably 250 internal recruiters, and those internal recruiters filled jobs for executives. They filled jobs for retail stores. They filled jobs for technology people all over the map. So they recruited all over the map, and every one of those recruiters had an average of somewhere between 50 and 60 jobs that they were working on at a given time. So that just gives you a little bit of landscape into the internal recruiters. And then from an external recruiter perspective, there's two types of recruiters. There's they're outside contingent recruiters. Thanks, Jeff. Look at you. I don't know that I ever gave you this slide, but this is a great slide. Outside contingent recruiters. And if you're a company that's getting ready to hire, you can use, you might use 3 or 4 contingent recruiters. You don't have to just use one. So you can use multiple recruiters. And the way that works is that if I'm a recruiter, a contingent recruiter, I don't get paid anything up front, and I don't get paid anything unless I find the right candidate. So a company that's got 3 or 4 recruiters working for them to find a job, fill a job, is real. It's a fire drill for the outside contingent recruiters. And then there's retained search executives, and that's the category I fall into. And we get selected by companies to fill hard to fill jobs. They pay us a retainer up front. The way my business works, they pay us a retainer up front. Some firms get paid other fees along the way. And then, and that's all based on the package that the company is offering. So for a CEO, it could be a base salary, it could be bonuses, there could be other fees or other things that they're offering that candidate. And search firms generally get paid for a percentage of that package. So why is this important? In-house recruiters, they call you, you know you're talking to somebody that works for the company. They know exactly what they're looking for. This person is going to be very well versed into what the executive or the person that's hiring is looking for. And so you're going to ask different questions than you would a contingent or a retained. The reason that you want to know whether they're contingent or retained is that in the retained search space, they're not gonna move as quickly, maybe, because we're not competing against anybody. And we always want to make sure that we're, offering a solid slate of per se candidates. But there's nothing wrong as a candidate for you to ask when you're doing the interview or before you start the interview, could you tell me what kind of recruiter you are? Because it'll just help set up the conversations and the dialogue that you'll have with that person. So that's a little bit about recruiters. Let me see if I can open up a screen here and see if we can go to, let's see. Okay, let's see, Jeff, if we can go to advanced files. Okay. Let's now share screen, see if I can do that. Jeff, can you see that now? Yeah? Nod your head. Everybody see it? Okay, good. Okay, we got it. Okay. So what I want to do here is share with you what a recruiter like myself looks at every day. So everybody is familiar with LinkedIn. And there's other search tools out there. My son works for a company that is developing a tool that is very similar to LinkedIn. And it uses AI, a lot more AI than LinkedIn does. And they're building out a very robust product that I haven't started to use myself yet. They're pushing me towards it, so I'm going to start more this week. But for the most part, I think it's important as a candidate that LinkedIn is still the go-to place for candidates to look for new opportunities. And so there's a number of products that a recruiter can use. They don't have to have the recruiter product. They can use other advanced products that LinkedIn's got that are a lot less expensive. But the bottom line is a number of years ago, LinkedIn went to work with Korn Ferry, and they are a retained search firm. And Korn Ferry had determined that their database was really outdated every night, when the clock struck midnight, because the data that is in there was only as good as when it got updated. So Anthony's on the phone today, and if Anthony had sent a resume into Korn Ferry 3 years ago, but he had 2 new jobs, the resume that they'd have for Anthony wouldn't be updated. And so they'd have to reach out to Anthony, find out what is he doing. Could you send me a new resume, get that loaded in the database? Well, so they decided to work with LinkedIn to help develop a product that recruiters could use to help with their searches. So this product is really a mastermind of between Korn Ferry years ago and LinkedIn owns it, and they've since made a lot of changes to it. But the bottom line is that when I am looking at candidates, you can't see me. So what LinkedIn did is they developed a separate set of APIs that sit on top of LinkedIn. So my database that Jeff circled there, my database is 930 million people, okay? And, but when I click on any candidate, when I'm in the LinkedIn recruiter product, you as a candidate or a candidate cannot see me anywhere. I don't show up anywhere. I'm completely invisible. And the reason that is because when I'm conducting searches, and I've got 10 searches going on right now. When I'm conducting searches, if candidates could see me that I clicked on your profile, then they'd send me a note and they'd say, hey, I saw you just clicked on my profile. What can I help you with? I would never get my job done. And so you can imagine when I'm doing a search, I might look at 200 profiles in an afternoon. And I don't have the time to go back to those 200 people and explain to them what I was looking at or why I clicked on their profile. So we can, in the day that LinkedIn changes that, and I know they won't ever change that, recruiters will stop using LinkedIn because it will become completely transparent and unproductive for us. So as a recruiter, I can search for all kinds of things. I'll scroll down here and you can see just a whole lot of different things, from titles to postal codes to years of experience to military veterans to fields of study, degrees, seniority, companies that people work for. But let's just start at the very top and talk about some of these attributes up here, the spotlights. So this first one is open to work, okay? And this is a self-selection that candidates make, and they tell either recruiters confidentially or they tell everybody in the world that they're open to new opportunities or they're open to work, okay? So you see this when you click on somebody's profile and they've got, I call it the green ribbon or the green wreath around their head. That tells everybody in your network that you're actively looking. And then there's a one that you can click also that is less obtrusive, and it doesn't put that green wreath around your head, but it tells recruiters that are using LinkedIn Recruiter that you are actively looking or you would consider a new opportunity, okay? One of the questions that I get from every group when we do this is if I'm actively looking for a new job, what should I do? Should I tell everybody that I'm open to new opportunities? And my suggestion is this, is that if you are an active candidate is somebody that's actively looking, they are unemployed, they are not taking a salary from a current company, they are actively looking for a new job, that they put that wreath around their head and tell everybody in the world that they're looking for new opportunities. And the reason is because remember that when you're unemployed, you are trying to connect with anybody and everybody. You're trying to create as many conversations as you possibly can. And I can't tell you how many times I hear stories of somebody that's not on Recruiter, but using just regular LinkedIn, and they are just going through something in LinkedIn and they pop on somebody and that green wreath is on and it's like, oh, wow, whoa. I didn't know John was actively looking for a new opportunity. He's an amazing guy. We worked together for years and he's an amazing executive. And our company's actually looking for somebody like John. So telling everybody is not a bad thing because there's other people out there that have access to opportunities, can make great introductions and so forth. So don't hesitate to put that green wreath if you're actively looking. I highly recommend it. So open to work, open to new opportunities. That's the first button. There's two ways to do it: green wreath or confidentially for just recruiters. More likely to reply. LinkedIn keeps track of you as a candidate. And if you don't reply to messages, they put you in a box and they tell recruiters that you're less likely to reply to messages. Why does that matter? Well, when I'm doing the sourcing part, so when I'm looking for new candidates, The first stage of that game, and anybody that does what I do, is sourcing. I happen to do probably 80% of my own sourcing, and then I've got other people that work on my team that I bring into projects that I might have them do the sourcing or help me with the sourcing. But when I'm doing sourcing, I might look at, in the course of a week, I might look at 1,000 profiles, 1,000 candidates. I've got a senior accounting manager role for a company in Tucson, Arizona, somebody that's a QuickBooks expert. And I've probably looked at 1,000 people, and I'm not exaggerating. It's a tough market, and there just aren't a lot of people in that market that are actively looking. So, but anyway, when I go to send a note to them, sometimes it will be, I might look at them and it says less likely to apply. And I look at what they do, and it's like, well, it's not mandatory that I get a hold of this person. I'm not going to bother sending them a message. So my recommendation on this one is to make sure that every time you get a note from anybody in LinkedIn, send them a note back and just say, thanks, not interested. Thanks, let me think about it. I appreciate your note. It doesn't have to be a long message. It just can be one word, thanks. But I highly encourage you to reply to all messages. It's just a really, really good way to make sure that your name stays at the top of the list for everybody. Company connections, that's pretty obvious. Either they have a connection with Linked Executive Search, or Pepsi, or Dr. Pepper 7-Up, or AT&T, some of the brands that I've worked for. These are the people that have engaged with my talent brand. So about 7.8 million people over the last 8 years I've been using this product, and 1.2 million people are past applicants. So that just gives you a little bit of the spotlight. Again, the most important one is this open to work and most likely to reply. Turn the wreath on if you're actively looking for a new opportunity, and make sure you reply to every message. So now what I'm going to do is to just give you an idea, and we'll start looking at candidates. I don't put a disclaimer on it, but this is kind of confidential. You're going to see people's names possibly that you might know. And I'm not going to ever say anything bad about anybody, but just this is just not confidential. But so I'm going to use a job that I've got here in Dallas that I just started the last week, and I really haven't done a lot of searching on it yet. So it's an asset manager. Asset management specialist. I might go to analyst, asset man, asset. No, I don't want that. Let's see. Asset assistant manager. No. Assessment. Specialist. I've got that. Asset specialist. Asset director, asset manager, head of asset management, protection, vice president, asset manager. That's what I really wanted. So I'm going to use those as the titles first, and then I'm going to come down and we're going to go to the location, and it's actually a Dallas location. So I can put in Dallas, Texas. And it can give me the whole metroplex. I can put in 75205. Nope, I got to go over here and do that on the other side. So I can't put in zip codes there. But I can go Texas if I wanted to. If I wanted to, I could just put in the United States. But if I'm looking at a specific area, Tucson was an example I gave you, and they don't want to relocate somebody, I might look at people that are open to relocate only, so for Tucson. So I might put in everything, but they identified that they are open to they're open to live in Tucson, and so they're going to relocate themselves. But generally, I'm looking for people that are currently in that market. Okay, work types. This is on-site, remote, or hybrid. That's obviously a very important question these days. In this particular case, for this role, it's on site, okay? They don't want this to be a remote opportunity. There is somewhat of a hybrid to it because they don't have an official office yet, but they will in the next 6 months. So when they do have their office, it's going to be on site. So there could be some hybrid opportunities for right now, but long term it's on site. So I wouldn't mess with that. I can put in skills and assessments if I want to. In this particular case, I'm just starting the search. So I'm trying to start out with a big funnel. I want to have a lot of people to look at. And based on what I look at, then I'll determine whether or not I want to, if I want to shrink it a little bit. So I can now I can put in skills assessment companies that they work for. In this particular case, I don't have any particular companies that I'm targeting, but it is a commercial opportunity. So I might use the Dallas Book of Lists and go in there and put in the top 20 commercial real estate firms if I wanted to. That might be a next step. I can put in year of graduation. The company really hasn't determined how old they want the person, so I don't think that that's relevant in this particular case. The salary, though, will dictate it because it's only an $80,000 a year job, $85,000 a year job. So if I have a vice president of asset management that's actively looking for a new job, but he was making $250,000, even though he's looking for a new opportunity, he's probably not going to be interested in an $80,000 job. So again, I'm not going to put in any graduation, but I could. In this case, I'm going to put in industries because it's commercial real estate, and it's going to require somebody to be in commercial real estate. I can put in keywords. So one of the products that a lot of commercial real estate companies use to help do their work is called Yardi. I could put Yardi in there, or I could build a Boolean. I build a Boolean by saying I need sales and management and consumer products and Dallas. Okay, put that all in quotations and I can do a Boolean search that'll help me find more people. Employment type, if I want to, it's a full-time opportunity. I generally don't put that in there. In this case, there's no language requirements. I'm going to start working on a search potentially in the Caribbean, and this person is going to be required to speak Spanish. So that would be an opportunity. If I had to put that in there, I could. If I know somebody's first name, I'm probably not going to go to the, putting all this other stuff in there. I'm going to go right to names. This gives me, if I want to, out of the people that we're going to pop up here, one of them is a first connection 2 or 19 or 2. And then if I want to, I can do last names and so forth. But I'm leaving the rest of it blank. I'm going to come up here now. And I'm going to hit search. And ding, 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 ding. Normally it doesn't take this long. Okay, there we go. So I've only got 65 results, okay, which isn't a very big funnel of people. And so I don't know right off the top why that is. I've even opened it up to Texas, which is, I'm going to take Texas off of there and let's see what happens to my base then. Because there's a lot more asset managers in Dallas than 65 people. Well, now it's only showing 38 people. So we'll just start with these 38 people because it's still gives us the ability to do what we want to do, which is look at candidates and identify what candidates are doing, who's doing a really good job and who's not. Okay. So, so here's Chris or Connor. Connor and I are connected. That's why I've got his email address. You can see up here that we're first connected. I can go to Connor's profile. And I can see that first thing we look at is, okay, so he is most likely, so he is today working as a asset portfolio manager for the Aguia family. My scroll thing is a little too touchy. Let's see if I can scroll over here. Let me see. Let's scroll. Yeah, here we go. This should be a lot better. Okay. So he's at AFV Partners, the Aguila Family Ventures. He's been there for 2 years. Before that, he was in commercial real estate as an asset manager. Definitely has got, the experience that we're looking for. If I put keywords in there, they would, and he had them in his profile, they would populate or they'd highlight in here. In this particular case, I didn't put any keywords in there. We have 171 people that we're connected to. If I can't get a hold of Connor, and I better be able to because we're connected to each other. You can look at his summary here. Connor's done a really nice job of this summary, okay? He's written it out as instead of just using bullets, he's given us a nice background on his, is an astute commercial real estate manager. He is, talks about some of his skills, some of his highlights in his career. And then he gives some of his professional skill set, financial management, cash flow analysis, okay? So he's a great candidate, okay? He's going to be probably a lot more expensive, though, than what this job has to offer. But why wouldn't I send Connor a note and just say, hey, great people know great people. I think this job is below your pay grade or, something in that category. But Connor, you've been in the industry a long time. You may know some young asset managers that are fully capable, but are more in line with the salary that we've got targeted for this role. So just because I can't make any assumptions, he's working for a great organization today, but he may be looking and maybe he's only making $100,000. So again, as a recruiter, I have to make sure that I'm always keeping my blinders off to make sure that I don't oversee or overlook a candidate. So again, he's done a really nice job in this summary. He's maximized the space. The only thing that he didn't do in here that I highly recommend to you as candidates that are actively looking is, in this particular case, I'm connected to Connor, so it wouldn't matter. I could call, I can email him directly, but I would highly recommend that you put your email address and your phone number in this summary section, because as we go to the next candidate, and I'm going to go out of Connor here, go to the next candidate. So we go to Tammy, and let's go to Will Daniel. That's okay. That's funny. I know Will. He went to school with my son. So here's an example of somebody that has not given us, he's got no summary, okay? He hasn't taken advantage of that space. He's open to work, but he hasn't put that green wreath around his head. So he's telling recruiters that he's open to work, but is he really open to work, okay? Today he's been with Glennstar for 1 year and 7 months. Before that, he was with Piedmont for 6 years. And before that, he was with CBRE for 1 year. So as I look at a candidate like this, I'm not concerned about this first year because he only was there for 1 year and it was right out of college. And then he went to Piedmont. He was there for 6 years. So he's a stable candidate. The fact that he's now been here for 1 year and 7 months, who knows what's going on? Is the organization making him go to work now at Glennstar and he doesn't want to go to work? Or maybe he wants to go to work in Glennstar saying we're going to stay remote for the rest of this year. Is he not happy with his boss? Did he not get paid bonuses last year? Who knows what's going on with Will, but he's definitely somebody that I'd want to reach out to. So in this particular case, even though we have 22 connections and I could reach out to any one of them to get a connection, an email address or a phone number for Will, what I do at this point is I then go in and I send an email, and it gives me the chance to select a template, and then it populates that subject, and then I compose a message. So let's say that I'm doing this Halo pilot's flight, okay? This is all pre-populated so that I can go in and do this really quick. So all I have to do is change the name in here. but I'm not going to send it to Will Daniel because it's the wrong job. But I'm just showing you, I haven't built a template for this role yet, so I don't want to take your time to do that now. But everything populates. So I just go in and change one word in here, and then I hit send. You can see how I can send a lot of messages really fast. So I didn't mean to get away from Will there, but I didn't want to send him an email about a job for a pilot because he's not a pilot. So let's go back to Will. So there's a lot of things that Will could do better. You can see that he's given us a little bit of information. Whoa, sorry guys. Oh yeah, no, okay, that's all right. We'll go to Hunter now. He is open to work. Okay. Has not put the ribbon around his head, okay? He's a second connection to me, so I don't have his contact information. I'd have to send him an email. I can see here that he started off out of college. He went to Arizona, graduated in 12. Let's go down and show more so we can see his whole career. Because this is important. You know, if you've moved around a lot, make sure that those have been contract jobs, you put contract in there to let the recruiters or people that are looking at your background that you weren't a full-time employee, you were only a contractor. But he was here for 2 years, then he was there for a year, then he was there for a year, 1 year, 2 years, 8 months, 1 year. My prediction would be Hunter may be a great candidate, and I'd ask him about his transition and why he's moved around so much. And it could be very logical. Many times it's very logical, meaning that, you know, I went to work with this guy and he got a better job. He came and got me, and then I really enjoyed working for him. And then our company got sold. And so that's when I landed over here with this organization. And same thing, I worked for this great guy, and after a year and a half, he got a promotion, went to a different company, and he brought me along with him. I mean, those are great conversations. But if I were just to look at this, I would probably tell you that I'd have to tell my company that chances are you're going to have a good run with Hunter for about a year and a half, and then he's going to go to somewhere else. He's just given us that over the last 5 years or 7 years. He's just given us that track record, but not my decision. I'm not the one that's going to hire him. I'm really looking for, you know, experience. So I don't know a lot about Osgood, and nobody does because it's not a very big company. I don't know Bay Mountain Capital either, but now I can get to know them real quickly by clicking that link. And it populates and tells me who they are and what they do, which is a great resource tool because I can't know every company out there. So they're a partner for private real estate lending, a team of experienced real estate entrepreneurs. I could go to their website. 17 employees are on LinkedIn. So it's not a big company, but the company that I'm working for is very small. So that isn't really relevant. But again, just a tool to show you the product and how quickly I can get to know organizations and where people come from. He hasn't taken advantage of the summary section again, wasted space if he's actively looking. He hasn't been to one of Jeff's seminars yet to learn how valuable that space is. So all of you got bonus points today because you're getting some inside coaching. So here's another Stuart Day. Let's look at Stuart and see if we can find anything new about him. He hasn't given us a lot about his he doesn't even have a picture up. I think a picture is really important. And I clarify that it should be a picture of you, not a picture of, there's a lot of times that I'm doing a search and I'll pull up a profile and the name on it is Jody, and it's a husband and wife. How do I know if Jody's the male or the female? I really don't know. So I encourage you just to put a picture of yourself up there. You can take it from your smartphone. You don't have to go have an expensive picture taken made. And make sure you've got a current picture up there. Don't put a high school picture in there. Don't put a college picture. Put a current picture. Because if you don't, people think you're hiding something. Okay, that's just that. It's just a matter of fact. That's where our mind goes to. So he's given us a little summary. Not bad, actually. Look at that. He's got quite a bit of content in here. So again, if I was doing keywords, and I had 10 keywords in there that were, portfolio values, core plus assets, standardized revenue, all of these are commercial real estate asset manager terms, then they would highlight in his profile. And here he has, look at, he's given us his email address. So, hey, bad on me. Stuart doesn't have a picture, but he's done a pretty good job of giving us a little bit of information. He is with private trust today. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what a private trust is, but I don't know which one he's working for. He's been there for 14 years, so he's been there a long time. Before that, he was with somebody for 2 years. He was there for a year. Early in his career, 2 years. So I don't really graduated from, he got his graduated from Columbia in 2000. No, go back. University of Oklahoma in 92. So if I want to figure out his age, I can just by that. But the fact that he's been at this one company for 14 years tells me that the guy's not a job. He's not a job jumper. He's a solid candidate and somebody that he's probably overqualified. He's probably not overpaid. He's probably making more than what I can offer him at this point, but he will know a lot of people based on his tenure. And if I looked at, the companies that he works, the other stuff that he's done, it's going to take me down there, down all the way to 96 when he worked for Lehman Brothers. So he's had a lot of experience. He's built a big database of people in his network. You can see here that he doesn't have a big network. He's only got 14 people in his network. But he probably knows a lot of people. He's not actively using LinkedIn, but he probably knows a lot of people that I would like to know. So, all in all, I'd probably give him an 8 out of 10 because he doesn't have his picture. But here's another question that a lot of people ask is, do I put these dates in here? Okay. He could have easily left off the University of Oklahoma and his bachelor's and left these two on there because they're pretty current. But he's been full disclosure. He's telling us how old he is, when he went to college, when he graduated, and he's loaded it up in sense of giving us a pretty good flow of information about the jobs that he's had, and with the companies that he's worked for. Okay, Jeff, do you want to add anything in? Nope. Okay. Okay, so here's Sherry. Sherry's open to new opportunities. She's open to work. Here's that green wreath. Okay, she's got 500 connections. She is with DB Capital Management today. She's been there for a year and 3 months. I don't know DB Capital, so let's figure out what they do. Passionate, Driven, Intelligent Investing. It's a private equity group based in Southern California. And there's about 12 employees. I can learn a lot more if I wanted to, but it's not that important. She is, because she's a director of asset management, she's probably, again, I'm not assuming because I'm going to reach out to her, but she's probably making more money than what we've got targeted for this particular role. But that's not, as a recruiter, I can't make that assumption. And I always want to meet new people. So it's there's no reason why I wouldn't try to reach out to Sherry. Now, since she is actively looking, let's see if she's been to Jeff's seminar. And she hasn't given us her contact information, but she has done a pretty good job of, of giving us some information about her background. The only thing that she really faults here is that she should put her contact information in there so that I don't have to send that in mail. Again, it comes back to when I send that in mail, I have pretty good reply rates for LinkedIn. I'm in the 18 to 20% category, meaning that if I send out 100 emails, 20 people will reply back to me. For most people in that use LinkedIn Recruiter, it hovers around 8 to 9%. So the reason I share those numbers with you are that even though Sherry is actively looking, she's got the wreath, she says she's actively looking for new opportunities. I send her an email. If she doesn't check her email, I get calls from candidates, sometimes a year later, 6 months later. Hey, I saw that you sent me a note about this great opportunity in Atlanta, Georgia. I'd like to learn more about it. And I'm like, whoa, well, that was 8 months ago. We closed that job. Sorry, buddy. Maybe you should take a look at your email a little bit more often. So there's no guarantee that when I send Sherry a note through email that she's going to get that, or she's going to get it, but whether she replies to me or not. So when they give me their email address, I don't do this. Nixnay this, Don, bye-bye. And I go right down and send them an email to their email address, or I pick up the phone and call them. Hey, Sherry, I see that you're actively looking for a new opportunity. I'm working with a company in Dallas looking for an asset manager. I don't want to make any assumption. I think it's probably a less salary than what you're accustomed to, but what are your goals and objectives? And so I just start a conversation right away with them. So this is really it. I mean, there's anybody got any questions?
Kurt, can you hear me?
I'll go into chat, and if you want.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, Rico, he's not going to be able to answer that unless you.
I do have a 150 cutoff, Jeff. Thanks.
And I'm good.
Yeah, hold on, Rico.
I want to make sure that we get any questions in. Anybody got any questions that I can help answer right now?
If you can put your questions in the chat window, here we go.
So somebody put a note in there that concerning type of recruiters, how do you reach out to external recruiters? So that's a great question. And I get calls from candidates every day.
Oops. Kurt, he's muted. All right, well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna just stop. He doesn't realize that he's muted right now. Best way to find recruiters and connect with them.
Okay.
Ask other recruiters. Oh, here we go.
Gotta go bye-bye. Sorry, Jeff, I gotta go bye-bye. I appreciate you, and if anybody's got any questions, don't hesitate to give them my email address, and they can reach out to me directly, and I'll have happy to answer any of their questions personally.
Right.
Thanks, guys. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. For everybody else, hold on here, and I'll be glad to answer the questions you've got. Let's see here. Best way to find recruiters to connect with. I personally would say you want to reach out. You want to ask other people who do what you do and ask, what recruiters have you dealt with in the past? Okay. You've got to remember, though, my last job I got through Babbage and Associate. He called me up out of the blue. On a Tuesday, I went in for the interview. By Friday, I had the job. But in other cases, I've got a relationship with somebody at Babbage. I need to be the one, and you need to be the one looking at the recruiter's website. And when you see an open job, you need to then contact that recruiter and go, I'm that candidate. Put me in, boss. I want to go for that interview. So I think you've got to be proactive on any of the websites that you're interested in. And when you see a job posting, wherever it is, you've got to call the recruiter. You've got to let them know I'm qualified for this job, and let's talk. Recruiters have a very short attention span. They're going to be on to the next candidate very, very quickly. So, and they're going to forget who you are within a couple of weeks. You don't want to be emailing them every week or two, because, if you email them, you have to find out what their comfort level is. If they're able to, stop and have coffee with you, great, maybe you'll be able to make that connection. But for the most part, recruiters are looking at resumes, they'll spend 7 to 10 seconds and they're on to the next one to try to find. I mean, you heard Kurt says he can go through 100 profiles in an hour, because he can look and go, nope, nope, nope. If it doesn't work, if it works or doesn't work. Rico says, does having the premium package give you any advantage? My understanding is, I don't pay for the premium package. I just use the basic free package. The premium package apparently gives you more searches. So if you're doing a lot of searches and putting in a lot of those kinds of things, sometimes you get limited, my understanding. I would also say, if that's the case, clear your cache, log out, clear your cache, log back in. You may get to reset the amount of searches that you're able to do if that's the case. I think in most cases, most people don't pay for the premium version. If you do pay for the premium version, maybe you only do it for a few months while you're looking for a job. But be careful. My understanding is it's sort of difficult to stop LinkedIn from continuing those automatic deductions to your credit card. So just be a little careful there. Any other questions anybody has? The thing I would want to emphasize for everybody who's on the call, and as you saw there were people on there who were open to work, but they didn't make it easy for somebody to call them up. They didn't have a phone number in their summary statement and an email address. Now, if you don't want to put your phone number, I understand, get a Google Voice number. That way, Google Voice will then refer, you can forward it to your cell phone. But put a phone number, get a phone number, put your email address on there. Listen, Kurt and every recruiter out there, if they see somebody they want to pick up the phone and they want to call you right away. That's the first thing they want to do. The second thing, if they can't do that, they're going to send you an email if they have your email address. But you look on there, Kurt is able to see, using the recruiting package, if you have your contact information filled out, he'll be able to see it. But once again, as he said, put it in your summary statement to make it easy so that anybody looking at your profile can reach out to you. My phone number and my email address, they're in my summary statement. They're actually, if you look at my profile, you'll see there, I actually created a banner and I stuck it in my banner. I don't get a lot of spam phone calls. I really, really don't. So it hasn't really affected what's going on there. Any other questions anybody has?
Nope. Good.
Have a filled out profile. Get that summary statement in there. The one thing I would say in some of those summary statements, it was too much text in a box. 3 to 4 lines per paragraph. A little bit of white space is good. You have 2,200 characters there to be able to fill in that summary statement. And at the very bottom, list a bunch of other objects that you want to do, but add some white space in it to make it easy for somebody to scan and go, oh, here's his contact information, instead of being buried into this paragraph. All right, let me share a few more slides. We'll get out of here today. Let's see here. Next week, our speaker is going to be Locke Alderson. He's going to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies that get results. I need everybody, if you can, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Very, very important. Personally, I will not connect with somebody if you don't send me a personal note. I want to know why we should connect. You just have to tell me, I saw you here today on this program or on this workshop, or I met you at Starbucks last week, or whatever it is. Put something on there so I know how we connected. You never want to click on a white connect button, okay? Whenever you see a white connect button, it will send the automatic generic invitation and you can't personalize it. So if that happens, click on the person's face, and then after that, you'll see a blue connect button. And when you see a blue connect button, you can always send that personal note. Career DFW, Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us tomorrow for Interviewing Wednesdays. Walt Glass will be with us to talk about distinctive interviewing. He'll be live with us, so he'll be able to answer any questions you have. On Thursday, being the first Thursday of the month, we're going to talk all about effective resumes and primarily the best format for an ATS system when you're filling out something for an applicant tracking system. So come join us. And then if you'd like, we are going to seek some volunteers. If you'd like to share one or two, we'll look at one or two resumes. If somebody would like to share their current draft resume, you're welcome to delete the header information off of it, but just give us the body of it so we can look at it and we'll give you some feedback there. This Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting, we're going to talk about open forum. We do that the first Friday of every month. So we'll talk about whatever questions you've got, whatever you'd like to talk about. Questions answered. Everybody here is willing to offer their opinions and suggestions and try to help out. It isn't about me answering the questions. It's about you all building, some kind of conversation among yourselves this Friday. If you'd like to join the Career DFW and Career USA LinkedIn groups, I highly recommend it. The Career DFW group has over 14,400 members. We just passed the 14.4 number this last couple days ago. Please make sure your profile is mostly complete, okay? You're not doing anybody any good by having an incomplete profile. This session was recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. On the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist, because that way it gets down to 7 different playlists, and then you can pick LinkedIn or interviewing, whichever one you like. And then don't click on the video, but down below where it says view full playlist, up will come a list of all the different titles and dates, and you can find the most current video to go back and watch. But you can go back and watch any of them, because primarily, in LinkedIn, it's a lot of the information is all the same. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops, please join the Career USA mailing list. Just send an email to Career USA, the + subscribe at groups.io. You'll never be spammed, but what you will get is the topic of the day, the title of the day, and most importantly, the Zoom link. That way you can just click on the email and you can join us for our workshop. Please remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. All of our, Kurt was a volunteer, I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 14 years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you very much for joining us today, everybody. Have a great afternoon. For those in the DFW area, stay warm. And hopefully we'll see you later in the week.
Thank you.